Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services.
This show focuses on sharing good news and powering the good in our community. Now here's your host, City Current CEO, Jeremy Park.
Welcome to the City Current Show, powered by Higginbotham. I'm your host, Jeremy Park. We're always honored to bring you inspiring stories of individuals and organizations making a difference and powering the good. And in this case, we're talking about Collierville High School and their Future Business Leaders of America. We're honored to have their co-presidents with us, Jeon and Tyler Neilson. How are you two doing?
We're doing great.
Just happy to be here.
Yeah, thank you for having us on.
Well, when you talk about the power of high school students and leadership and business and everything that you're doing with Future Business Leaders of America, absolutely amazing. And so when you talk about sharing the good news, let's go ahead and dive in. Give us some background on Future Business Leaders of America nationally, and then talk about it with Collierville High School.
Yeah, so Future Business Leaders of America, so FBLA, is a national CTSO organization which is specifically made to help grow future business leaders. And there's multiple other CTSOs, but this one is specifically for business.
Yeah, like Jeon was saying, our CTSO is a career technical student organization, and there are a bunch of others, like Future Farmers of America is one, DECA, TSA. This one is specifically focused on business. And like all the other CTSOs, there's regional, state, and national level competitions. It's just ours are business focused, and that's what we're doing with our club, is we want to inspire the next generation of business leaders, and a large way that we do that is through these competitions, which help us build business skills.
So give us a little bit of your background as students and what attracted you to become co-presidents.
So I was introduced to Collierville FBLA, our FBLA chapter, during a career fair, or there was a club fair. And during that, I was in 10th grade. I saw it and it really interested me because my dad owns a business and I've always considered business growing up. So when I joined the club, the sponsors were very nice to me. They helped guide me through my way. And through it, I've been able to grow in leadership. And eventually I applied for the position of vice president, then later president, and I got it.
I actually joined my sophomore year because my brother was the president my freshman year. So that's how I was introduced to FBLA. And sophomore year, I applied to the fundraising committee, which we had at the time. I got in, and I was in that my sophomore and junior year. Senior year, I also applied to co-president.
So you mentioned competitions. Give us an idea when you talk about a school year and the programmatic pieces to it. Walk us through the program.
So we start first with our regional competition, and that's in West Tennessee. And for that, we do objective tests, or in this case, this year, it was 4 events that were in-person events. So that could be public speaking, which is what I participated in, social media strategies, and multiple like that. So we had to present to a couple of judges, and before we competed in our actual event, we prepared our competition through different after-school preparation sessions.
Yep. Yeah, and then states and national, it's the same idea. Right, it's the same rubric that they're grading you on. It's just a higher level of competition. Your project and stuff needs to be more refined. And some events, like for example, the one that I did last year, data analysis, you don't need to go to regionals. You just go straight to states. You compete there. If you get top 3 or 4? Top 4 in states, then you move on to nationals.
Talk about the kind of the structure, because you mentioned obviously the mentorship, the guidance. So you've got the business side of stepping in and helping, because obviously when we talk about Future Business Leaders of America, you want the business community activating, but then you also have kind of the sponsorship, the school side, and the students. And so talk about those different interfaces between the students, the business community, the school community. How does that work?
Yeah, a large thing that the students are involved in is fundraising. That's one of our biggest goals as a club, is raising enough funds so that we can afford the expensive trips to states and nationals. And an example of some of the things that we've already done is we've collaborated with Pyro's Pizza and Mellow Mushroom in some fundraising events to get money with them, along with some other things like Double Good Popcorn, stuff along those lines, Dolly Money. is another one. So yeah, fundraising is definitely a massive part of our club, and this also goes for the other CTSOs.
The good news is fundraising is business development. So when you talk about being successful in business, when you can fundraise and that leads to business development and sales, that's always a needed, entity with businesses. Talk about the number of students, your peers, what does that look like with Future Business Leaders of America at Collierville High School?
So since we've both joined in our sophomore year, it's grown from about 13 members that were actively participating to all the way to 70 who are actively participating in state competitions. So it's grown a lot in terms of members. It's gone from about 40 to 150 members.
That's awesome. How has that changed for you two, especially when you talk about starting your sophomore year and now being co-presidents? Talk about your own leadership development, because it's one thing to step in and say, hey, I want to help, I want to lead. But then when you talk about the growth and then having to set, structure and bringing on that many more students to grow, like that takes a lot of fine tuning. And so talk about how you two personally have grown with your leadership.
One thing that I've noticed is it's definitely helped me refine my organizational skills. Like before, I never used to use my calendar app at all. And now I see myself checking it all the time, making sure that our meetings and fundraisers are all on track and everything's good to go.
Yeah, similar to Tyler, it's the attention to detail that really refined for me. Trying to be active with all the club members is really difficult as the club member size increase. But just being a voice and a presence that they can rely on allows you to be more engaged with the fellow peers.
What have you two learned when you look at going through the classes, right? Like you're learning obviously in school in the class and you're covering all the different subjects. But when you talk about taking on a leadership role outside of that and looking at it from a business lens, when you talk about, okay, I've got to go in and, social media and audits, data analysis, like there's a lot of things that you have a chance then to learn that have real world application. So talk about it from that vantage point of what are the things that you're looking at as you look at your school now, but how that starts to build this platform for success in business that could lead you into college and trade schools and obviously new career paths. How is this starting to open your eyes on the value of school, but tied to these opportunities with Future Business Leaders of America with Collierville High School?
So I think a lot of this has to do with the power of networking. And that's a very big part of Collierville FBLA. We get to meet with a ton of chapters during our leadership conferences that we attend, such as the West Tennessee Leadership Conference, even states and nationals. You get to interact with so many different clubs who run it very differently. So just being able to have that peer-to-peer interaction with different people outside your school, it really brings a lot of opportunities that you wouldn't expect and friendships.
Yeah. Also, one thing is I think being on hands-on activities, like working with this club, is definitely, in my opinion, a bigger learning experience than actually taking business classes. And that's one thing that I've noticed, I'm sure you've noticed as well, is that being engaged right on social media, learning to build our platforms, learning important communication skills with large groups of people, and working in a team, it's definitely a skill set that you don't really get in a classroom environment.
Exactly.
I've got to believe too, you mentioned the public speaking and doing that as, an opportunity. How has that led to your confidence? When you talk about networking, your ability to walk in and feel more comfortable in those environments, especially as a high school student, but saying, okay, I've got this. Like, so how has it helped you with your confidence, your character development on that side of it?
So I can really speak personally to this because for me, as a freshman coming into high school, I really didn't interact with too many people, especially after COVID. It was all virtually online calls. So talking in person with peers I didn't really know, it really frightened me. But just that repeated interaction over and over, it slowly cracks some walls. And for me, the events like public speaking is a huge one because just being able to talk to those judges, the more people you interact with that you don't know, it makes it a lot easier to just do a quick hello and getting that just small interactions.
Yeah, I definitely think the competitions do help a lot with your public speaking and networking skills because I mean, a lot of them are based off of presenting to judges. And I also think the conferences themselves, like for example, the fall leadership conferences, they provide workshops that will like teach you networking tips and tricks. And that's another thing that I've gained a lot of value in my networking.
Well, I mean, you two just doing this interview, right? Like a media interview. So, I mean, all of these, it's great experience, but it also, too, it's great character development and confidence building. And it just leads to more opportunities. And just like you mentioned, Jeon, everything in life is about relationships. And so when you're able to walk in, and whether it's public speaking or just going into an event and being able to build those relationships through networking, it leads to powerful new opportunities in life and in career. So, Jeon, you mentioned, coming from a family of business owners and with your father especially, how has this changed the way you interact with your family, better understanding business? Because in some cases, kids can, grow up and have no clue what their parents do. And then all of a sudden, it's like the older you get, you have a better appreciation. So how has it transformed the dinner conversations or just your outlook on business?
I think it really changed my outlook specifically because I just have a lot more respect for what my dad and my mom does at work, because it's just how they balance their life, all their businesses, and just interactions with their friends. It just seems like so much on their plate, but they still manage to just get that family time, still be great parents, very loving. And I think it's just the respect, and I can see that they very much they gave me a very good life, and I'm very happy and appreciated.
A big part of business, too, is community engagement. And so when you talk about the businesses being involved with Collierville High School, Future Business Leaders of America, but then also, both of you have alluded to this larger network, right, and getting involved in the community. How has this changed your view of not only the business, but also the role of getting involved outside of the four walls of the school and going out and participating in programs, doing the conferences? How has this changed your outlook on being involved in the community?
It just emphasized the importance of getting involved in the community with our different volunteering opportunities, like how we helped with the Memphis Joy Prom for kids, along with Angel Tree, are two of the volunteering events that we're doing as a club this year. And for that specifically, I think it's just shown how much importance it is, because even though it might not lead to any direct success or direct gains from it, it just really helps build that character. That's really important to be grounded for the different interactions that you make with people, because people truly see what you show. It's not just a facade. If you truly help, you're not going to just help just to help. You're going to help because you want to be involved with the community. So, yeah. And one thing that I've noticed is that FBLA and some of the other clubs in our school as well, they're good introductions to volunteering for a lot of students in the clubs. And what the students notice is that they actually really enjoy helping out. Yeah. Like at the Angel Tree gift packing, everyone's having a good time. It's a great atmosphere. Everyone has fun. And I think that will help our communities in the future have a more active volunteering base.
What would you give as advice to other students at Collierville High School in terms of getting involved with Future Business Leaders of America?
So it's as simple as just reaching out to us. We have many advisors, such as Ms. Stokes, Ms. Shahaki, and Ms. Ashford. And me and Tyler, we're presidents. We both have email. It's just simple as just sending us an email, and we can send you the forms, any information that you need. And you can join. It doesn't matter if you're a freshman or a senior. We take everyone.
What advice then would you give for the community, for the business community, for people to get involved who say, hey, I love it. It sounds awesome. Like, I want to be a part of developing our leaders. I want to be involved with Future Business Leaders of America. I want to help, especially with, like you mentioned, the fundraising. How can the business community, how can the community plug in and be a part of Collierville High School's Future Business Leaders of America?
One way, of course, would to be sponsoring our club or clubs similar to ours to help the future generation get better exposure to business. I mean, I think this has been a great experience for everyone that's in our club. And in my opinion, this is the best opportunity outside of owning a business at our age at being exposed to the space. Because like I mentioned earlier, you can only learn so much in a classroom setting about business. Being hands-on in business gives you a unique angle and a unique skill set.
For each of you, give me one of your favorite experiences. And it can be from, this year, past years. What's a favorite moment that stands out for you in terms of being involved with Future Business Leaders of America?
I've got to say, it would be pretty hard to beat nationals this year. This past year, me and one of my group mates, we placed 5th at nationals for our data analysis project, and that was a great time at Orlando. It was very fun.
And for me specifically, it was probably the bus ride back home from placing in state. It was just all of us were really excited. Lots of our members placed. We were all just really energetic, happy, and finally able to just take that deep breath, sigh of relief, and just relax the way home.
Well, definitely love and appreciate everything you all are doing. And when you talk about just Future Business Leaders of America and Collierville High School, so much good news to share. And, greatly appreciate your leadership in helping to grow the program. So, Jeon, Tyler, thank you for all you do to power the good with Future Business Leaders of America and Collierville High School. Thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having us.
Higginbotham Insurance and Financial Services is proud to power the City Current Show. We're a people-first company that protects what matters most, the families, businesses, and trailblazers that keep our community going. As one of the nation's top independent insurance firms, Higginbotham is a single-source solution for business insurance, employee benefits, HR services, and personal insurance that's customized for you. We're here to serve you, the people you care about, and your community. Call 866-377-1959 or visit higginbotham.com.